10 years ago, Luton Town were in the National League, playing teams like Salisbury City, Histon and Hayes and Yeading United. I guarantee you don't know a single one of them. But if we fast forward to today, they are 90 minutes away from Premier League glory. They are going to Wembley and potentially facing Borough or Coventry. And in 10 years, they will have gone from National League all the way to the Premier League if they get promoted. So welcome to the meteoric rise of Luton Town. Before we get into the video, if you like the video, make sure you smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. It helps push out the algorithm for YouTube. Now, Luton Town, a club formed in 1885. It's one of the oldest clubs in English football. And they've been in their stadium, Kenilworth Road, for over 118 years. It's a club with a lot of character, a lot of determination, and most importantly, a lot of history. But they almost never had a club. We have to go to the late 1990s here, where Luton Town had been relegated from the Premier League to the Championship equivalents. And they were a mid-table, steady Championship side. But as the 90s kept going on, they kept selling their better players to bigger and better teams like Leeds United and my club Derby County. And then manager Mike Newell asked the owner where the money had gone, the transfer fees. They raised about £13 million in transfer fees, which back then especially is a massive sum of money. Immediately after Mike said this, he was sacked instantly. And this started to raise some eyebrows. Fans also started to question what was happening behind the club. You know, you've sold a load of players, you've made a load of money. Why is it not being reinvested back into the squad? And after fan groups applied pressure onto the club, the books were released. However, the owner only released brief accounts, not showing where the money has come from or where money is going to. And this prompted the chairman to say one of the most shocking things I've ever heard in football. He said that the club had been participating in payments made to agents behind the manager's back to secure the contracts of players via a club's holding company, J10. Now, obviously, this is a massive no-no and a massive red flag. And this caused the Footballers Association, or the FA, to start an investigation. And that year, Luton Town were relegated to the League One. Anyway, let's go over to 2008. Some new owners came in and bought the club, and they made some very questionable statements. Luton sold all of their best players and brought in journeymen and low league players. And the owner also come out and attacked the fans in statements. And as you could guess, that didn't really go down too well. And in late November, David Pickney put the club into administration. And Luton Town were automatically deducted 10 points. And an administrator was appointed to find a buyer before the end of the season. And there was a fire sale in January, selling off all the half-decent players and a subsequent relegation to League Two. The fans put a tremendous effort up to save the club from extinction. And well, apparently they didn't take the club out in properly administrating terms. To be honest, for me, it's a bit too complicated. But they didn't take them out good enough, as the FA imposed a 20-point deduction on the club for the 2008-2009 season. Now, Leeds United famously did the same, but only got 15 points. If anyone's an expert in that, can you tell me in the comments below? I don't really understand it. But anyway, a minus 20-point deduction at the start of the season is not good. To make things worse, the FA had come back with their investigation and added another 10 points on. So Luton have got a minus 30 points. And as you can guess, Luton Town were relegated from League Two to the non-league for the first time ever in the club's history. And here's where the story comes good. In 2008, Luton Town were taken over by a group of passionate investors who saw the club as a perfect rebuilding model. And the non-league was super tough for Luton Town. They finished in the playoffs 3 times out of 4 seasons, and each time failed to go up. They employed 5 different managers and even won an away cup tie against Premier League outfit Norwich at the time. They became the first non-league side to beat a Premier League team away from home since 1989. Anyway, in the 2013-14 season, John Still took Luton out of the Conference League and back into the football leagues where Luton belong. With a young Alfie Mawson at the back, Pelly Ruddock and Panzu in centre midfield, and a 22-year-old Andre Gray up top, Luton cruised the league, winning the league with 3 games to go. And Andre Gray scored 30 league goals. After a few mid-table seasons in League Two, Luton reached the playoffs in the 16-17 season, where they were unfortunately beaten 6-5 on aggregate by Blackpool. But that heartbreak did not set them back for long, as they rose to League One the following season, finishing as runners-up. And this is the 2017-18 season, only 5 years ago, and this club was still in League Two, with current Premier League players like Jack Stacey, James Justin and Flynn Downs in their ranks, and with Luton legends such as Mpanzu still at the club, with Luke Berry and Dan Potts still at the club, with top scorer Danny Hilton scoring 23 goals in that campaign. And if you thought that season was impressive, just wait for the next. Luton went and done a back-to-back promotion, winning the League One title the next season. And it was a season to remember for James Collins, who is currently at Derby County, my club. He scored 20 25 league goals. And this promotion put Luton Town back into the championship for the first time in 12 seasons. This first season back in the championship saw Luton struggle hard. Firstly, they lost key man James Justin to Leicester for £6 million. And they also lost Jack Stacey, who was also a key player at that wing-back role, to Bournemouth for £5 million. And they didn't really replace them, with manager Nathan Jones being poached by Stoke City halfway through the season. A little bit more on him a little bit later. They turned to club legend Mick Hartford, who played at Luton for a combined 7 years in total, who actually, funnily enough, scored a deliberate own goal while he was playing for Derby County, my club again, the greatest club ever. Scored an own goal by heading the ball into his own net, going past Peter Shilton. And this helped Luton stay up on the final day of the season. Several years later, Hartford admitted that goal was deliberate. Anyway, Mick Hartford was able to keep the Luton boys in the championship for one more season at least, before leaving his caretaker duty at the end of the season. He then took over later on the next season as they sacked Graham Jones for only having a 29% win rate, and Mick kept them up again. Anyway, May 2020 rolls around and Nathan Jones is rehired as Luton Town manager after getting sacked at Stoke and failing miserably. It's not the first time he gets sacked and fails at another club miserably. Luton Town were competing at the top of the championship. For context, in 2014, this club was still in the non-league, and 6 years later, we're talking about them at the top of the championship, potentially going to the Premier League. This season, they signed key man Elijah Adebayo, who was an absolute man-mountain in this season, scoring goals left, right, and centre. And he pushed out key man James Collins. Then we all remember Luton Town getting beaten 2-1 by Huddersfield in the championship playoffs last season. Now we've got to get to current season. Luton Town have signed some absolute ballers, such as Tom Lockyer at the back, Amari Bell and Cody Drammer on the wings, Marvelous Nakamba, and also Pelly, Ruddock and Panzu, who's been there from the start, with firepower such as Elijah Adebayo and Colton Morris. And Colton Morris has been one of the best players in the championship this season. He's scored 20 goals and got 7 assists in 40 league games. They finished third in the championship, even after manager Nathan Jones snaked them to go to Southampton. That ended really well, didn't it, Nathan? They brought in Rob Edwards, who had just been sacked by Watford, who were like 12th, by the way. And now Luton Town find themselves in the championship playoff final after beating Sunderland 3-2 on aggregate. Could this be their year? I certainly hope so. And if this year is not their year, could next year be their year? Whatever it is, I want to see Luton back in the Premier League, purely just for the fact you're going to have massive teams going to Kenilworth Road, where you've got to go through someone's back garden. What do you guys think about Luton Town? Tell me in the comments below. And also check out this video I made about Tottenham Hotspur, the smallest big club, because let's be honest, they're tiny. If you did enjoy today's video, please smash a like button and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. And come on the Luton!